You awake before dawn, before the sky has even started to blush with pale pink or gold. The air is still cool, heavy with the quiet breath of the sleeping city. Instead, the low murmur of voices stirs around you. Somewhere in the distance, the cockerel crows, an unceremonious herald for the day's chores. The aroma of burning olive oil lamps mingles with the faint smell of damp earth. The slaves before you stretch and shuffle toward their tasks. Some pull on patched tunics that hang loosely from their frames. Others lace their sandals tightly, preparing for the day's journey into the fields or the kitchens. You kneel and begin to work the earth, feeling the rich dirt crumble between your fingers. Nearby, a cluster of peas hangs heavy on their vines, the promise of a small reward at day's end. You imagine the master's table later, laden with food grown from your hands, and for a moment the thought is bittersweet. The sun inches upward slowly, painting the leaves with a golden glow. His sandals slap the ground as he approaches, inspecting your work with a critical eye. There is no room for complaint here. The monotony of the work wraps around you like a familiar cloak. The sun now stands high and the world feels warmer, brighter, though no less demanding. The rhythm of the day is steady, predictable. But beneath it all lies the quiet hope that one day, perhaps things might be different. You catch the scent of bread baking from the kitchen, mingling with the earthy smell of the garden. The day is long, and the work never ends. Yet amidst the toil, there is a strange beauty. In the soil crumbling beneath your fingers, in the steady pulse of life all around you, in the small moments of kindness shared between those who live without freedom but still hold on to their humanity. Hunger gnaws quietly in your belly, but you wait. There will be time for food, but only after the morning's chores. You nod and return to your labor, digging deeper, pulling weeds, tending to the fragile plants, as if they were the fragile threads holding your own life together. Your back bends and straightens. A steady rhythm punctuated by the occasional chirp of a bird or the rustle of a breeze through olive branches. You stand, your bare feet touching the cold stone floor, and you feel the rhythm of the place pulse around you. A faint smile tugs at your lips when a small dog trots by, its tail wagging as it darts between your legs. The dog, a tiny companion of no master, offers a brief moment of lightness in a heavy day. You sit up slowly, muscles stiff, the roughness of the coarse wool blanket scratching your skin. You have no title, no name that matters beyond the one your master uses to command you. Yet you carry the weight of a world unseen by those who roam freely in sandals and togas. Your body is weary, but the moment your eyes open, you remember exactly where you are, in a cramped, shadowed corner beneath the rough wooden beams of the villa's servant quarters. The hard floor beneath you is cold against your back. The shock sharpens your senses. You catch a glimpse of your reflection in the water's surface. Eyes tired but alert, cheeks smudged with the faintest traces of dirt. You pick up your tools, a short-handled hoe, a small basket, and step into the chill morning air. You run your hand through your tangled hair, already sticky with sweat from the night's heat. Your limbs ache from yesterday's labors, but there is no time for rest. The day begins. There is no grand alarm clock, no gentle morning song. Outside, the villa is already stirring. Your first steps take you to the small basin of water by the wall, where you splash cold water on your face. Today, you are assigned to the garden. It is not a grand patch of land, but the rows of vegetables and herbs are essential to the household's table. The garden is quiet, the soil still moist from last night's watering. You pause and wipe your forehead with the sleeve of your tunic, the fabric rough but familiar. You hear a voice calling, the overseer, sharp and clipped. As the sun rises higher, your muscles warm and loosen. You glance across the garden and see other slaves in their own spheres, some hauling water, others sharpening knives, a few quietly mending torn clothes in the shade. Your hands blister and your back aches, but you keep going. When the overseer calls again, signaling the end of your garden duties, you stand slowly, stretching your cramped limbs. You carry your basket of fresh herbs and vegetables back toward the kitchen, your thoughts already turning to what comes next. For now, you walk on, a slave by law, but a person in every breath and step. The kitchen is a world of its own, warm, bustling, fragrant, and loud. You step through the low doorway, and the air hits you like a wave. The sharp bite of chopped garlic, the sweet temps of simmering wine, and the smoky whisper of burning herbs. Pots clang and hiss, and the scent of fresh bread mingles with roasting meat. This is the heart of the household, where food is transformed from humble ingredients into the feasts of your masters. Your hands instinctively move to work, a practiced dance of fetching, stirring, chopping. You carry the basket of herbs from the garden, their green leaves trembling slightly as you set them down on the stone slab. The cook, a stout woman with soot-darkened hands and a quick, sharp tongue, eyes you with a mixture of expectation and tired camaraderie. "Ah, you've brought the basil and rosemary. Well done," she says, nodding. The room is still empty, but soon it will swell with laughter, arguments, and the clink of glass. You are an invisible thread in this tapestry, unseen but essential. You feel a small spark of pride. It's a minor victory, but victories are scarce and precious. The heavy stone wheel groans beneath your hands as you push and pull, muscles steady and sure. The grain dust rises, settling on your skin like a fine, flowery veil. It's a small pleasure, but one you hold on to tightly. The cook gestures for you to prepare the vegetables. You glance sideways at a loaf cooling on the windowsill. "The bread that will sustain you tonight," you respond with a nod, your voice steady when needed. You catch your reflection in a polished copper pot, a face marked by labor, yes, but also by quiet endurance. The bond between slaves here is a fragile thing, built on shared hardship and fleeting moments of kindness. The day is far from over, and you are still very much a part of its unfolding story. You pass a cup of water to a young girl whose hands tremble. She smiles in gratitude, and it feels like a small victory. You laugh softly, a quiet rebellion, a shared moment of humanity. You think of the master's table, the dishes piled high, sweat beads on your forehead and trickles down your neck, but you keep moving. Your body knows this rhythm, the chopping, grinding, carrying, like a well-worn song. And of your own simple meal to come, a few olives, a crust of bread, perhaps some watered-down wine. You peel and slice, the rhythm of your knife tapping a steady beat against the wooden board. Your fingers brush over the herbs, and for a moment you inhale deeply, savoring the fresh, sharp aroma. But for now, you are here, in the heat and noise, part of something greater, and yet so small. Your ears catch a snippet about a freedman's lavish party, the kind of life you can only glimpse through whispered gossip. Around you, the kitchen slaves chatter quietly, some swapping jokes that only those who toil in shadows understand. Others murmuring complaints about the master's latest whim. The master's family and guests will soon gather, and every detail must be perfect. You wipe your brow with the back of your hand and prepare the trays for serving. Smoke curls up your nostrils and settles in your lungs. You lift it carefully, the briny scent sharp and tangy. The master's guests will nibble on these as they recline on their couches. Sipping wine and discussing politics you'll never fully understand. You carry the tray through the villa's mosaic-adorned corridors, careful not to spill a single one. You cough softly, but don't complain. This is your world now, a mixture of heat, noise, and purpose. The cook instructs you to tend to the fire. You kneel before the hearth, coaxing flames from smoldering embers with practiced patience. Suddenly, a tray of olives is thrust into your hands. Passing the grand dining room, you pause briefly, eyes drawn to the rich tapestries and polished marble. Back in the kitchen, the cook assigns you to grind grain for the afternoon bread. Your stomach rumbles again. The day is still young, but hunger has a way of sharpening all your senses. A fellow slave catches your eye and smirks, mouthing silently, "At least the bread smells good." As the sun climbs, the kitchen grows hotter, the air thick with steam and smoke. The cook calls out orders, her voice sharp but not unkind. By midday, the kitchen's chaos reaches a crescendo. Your thoughts drift briefly. To the garden you tended this morning, to the slow turning of the day, to the quiet hope that tomorrow might bring something better. When the call comes to clear the kitchen, you set down your tools, muscles tired but steady. You step outside into the afternoon light, ready for whatever comes next. The afternoon sun hangs heavy, golden and unyielding, as you step out from the kitchen's smoky warmth into the villa's courtyard. The air shimmers faintly, carrying the scent of fresh bread mingled with distant lavender from the garden beds. You feel the heat press down on your shoulders, but still, there is work to do. The cloth resists, stubborn and stained with dust, sweat, and the remnants of the day's dealings. And daughter, free to play and splash in the fountains, their voices a sharp contrast to the rhythm of your labor. You steal a glance, remembering what it means to be young without chains. Your chest tightens for a moment, but then you shake it off. Your hands are raw, your back sore, but there is a quiet satisfaction in seeing the clean clothes flutter gently, a small triumph amid hardship. There is no room for longing in this work, only focus. You imagine sitting quietly in the servants' quarters, the soft light of an oil lamp flickering against the walls, the taste of simple bread and cheese grounding you after a day spent chasing shadows. They coo softly, indifferent to the lives below them, free to come and go as they please. You envy them for a heartbeat, then remind yourself, envy is a luxury you cannot afford. Your fingers stiffen, your arms burn, but you keep going, scrubbing until the fabric begins to lighten, until the water runs clearer. Your next task is the laundry, a chore as ancient as the city itself, as endless as the flowing Tiber. You approach the stone basin, rough hands already aching from the morning's toil. You stumble but catch yourself, cursing softly under your breath, a sound almost foreign to these walls. Nearby, another slave eyes you with a knowing smirk. She mouths, "Watch your step, or you'll learn more chores." The basin is filled with cool water drawn from the villa's cistern, but the chill offers little comfort against the blazing sun. You begin pulling the masteress and mistress's clothes from a heavy pile. Linen tunics, woolen cloaks, delicate stolas, each carrying the invisible weight of their owner's privileges. You dip the fabric into the water, feeling it soak, then rub with all the strength you can muster against the coarse washboard. The day's monotony is broken by these tiny moments, a shared joke, a knowing glance, a brief reprieve from the unending duties. A breeze carries the laughter of children from the atrium, the master's son. As you lift a heavy cloak to hang it on the drying line, your foot catches on a loose stone. Can't help but smile, a quick flash of camaraderie in a world where friendship is both a luxury and a necessity. The sun moves westward as you finish the laundry, hanging each piece carefully so the breeze can do its work. You pause to drink from a nearby clay jar, water, cool and sweet, and watch a pair of doves settle on the villa's rooftop. Your thoughts drift to the evening meal, to the brief moment of rest that awaits. But for now, the sun still lingers high, and your work is not done. The afternoon light softens as you step toward the stable, where the scent of hay and horses mingles with the dusty heat of the day. Your hands raw from laundry and garden work. Now take on new tasks, tending the animals that carry the weight of the household's needs. Her breath is steady, calm, and you speak to her quietly, as if your words might soothe the quiet burden she carries, just as you carry yours. You pitch the soiled straw aside, your muscles moving with slow, steady purpose. His watchful eyes scan the grounds, always searching for slack, for hesitation. You pick up your pace, mindful that any sign of weakness might invite punishment or more work. The fine line you walk each day is narrow and sharp. The smell of hay, dust, and manure rises, but you pay it little mind. This is your world now, a place of simple rhythms and honest labor. The stable is alive with low whinnies and the rustle of straw. The horses shift their weight and flick their tails, restless but patient. You run your fingers along the mane of a sturdy mare, feeling the warmth beneath the coarse hair.
Ow.
You finish with the stable chores and pause to drink from a clay cup, the water cool and grounding. The horses nuzzle gently as you pass, and for a brief moment, you feel a kinship with these creatures, both bound to serve, both yearning for freedom in different ways. Your job is simple, yet essential. Clean the stalls, refill the troughs, and prepare the animals for their next journey. You imagine the gentle murmur of the other slaves sharing stories, laughter muffled beneath the weight of the day. It is in these moments, small flickering sparks, that your spirit finds its fragile resilience. As you work, you catch sight of the overseer's shadow stretching long across the courtyard. The sun dips lower, painting the sky with strokes of amber and violet. Your thoughts wander to the evening meal again, to the brief moments of warmth and quiet that lie ahead. The night will bring rest, yes, but also the promise of another dawn, another day spent in service, in endurance. As twilight deepens, you return to the villa's heart, carrying with you the tired but steady pulse of the day. The evening falls softly, a muted curtain drawing close over the villa's bustling world. You move with slow, deliberate steps through the shadowed corridors, the cool stone walls whispering tales of countless days and nights spent in this place. The motions are familiar, almost ritualistic, a dance perfected by countless repetitions. Each sweep of your broom carries away the debris of the day, both physical and unseen. The fading light filters through narrow windows, casting long, gentle stripes across the floor, where dust motes dance quietly in the air. It is soft and worn, yet heavy with the power it represents. You breathe it in deeply, savoring the brief respite from labor. For a moment, the world feels still, as if the weight of your servitude has lifted just enough for you to glimpse something more. The villa's walls seem to close in, enclosing you in their ancient embrace. The room is dim, lit only by a single flickering lamp. Faces peer from the shadows, weary but unbroken. You exchange nods, small gestures of connection in a world designed to erase individuality. Yet within you, a quiet fire burns, a spark of endurance, of hope, of the unspoken promise that this day will pass, and another will follow. The day's dust settles on your skin, mingling with the sweat and weariness. Yet beneath it all, there is a strange comfort in the shared silence, the unspoken understanding that you are not alone. You fold it gently, with a reverence born of both duty and quiet defiance. You close your eyes, letting the darkness fold over you, carrying you toward rest. Tomorrow will come with its burdens and its trials, but for now, there is this fleeting peace. Your task now is to prepare the rooms for the night, sweeping the floors, ranging cushions, and laying out the master's garments for the next day. In the quiet moments between chores, you listen. As you finish your tasks, the overseer's footsteps echo down the hall, a reminder that rest will come on someone else's terms. His sharp voice cuts through the stillness, ordering a final round of checks and tidying. The villa breathes around you, the distant murmur of the family's evening meal, the soft clinking of cups, the occasional burst of laughter from the children. For a moment, you imagine the lives you might have led, free to follow your own desires, unbound by chains or commands. The thought brings a bittersweet ache, a whisper of a world that might have been. These sounds are a world apart from your own, a reminder of the divide that separates your lives, invisible yet unyielding. You pause by a small alcove where a simple oil lamp flickers, its flame dances, casting shadows that play tricks on the walls. Your fingers brush against the rough fabric of the master's cloak, folded carefully on a wooden chair. Outside, the garden is swallowed by dusk, the scent of jasmine rising on the cooling air. But the night is no haven. You obey, moving swiftly yet silently, aware of every shadow and sound. When your duties finally end, you retreat to the cramped quarters shared with others like you. You sit quietly on the cold floor, the rough blanket pulled tight around your shoulders. Outside, the city settles into night. The stars appear one by one, distant and indifferent. And in that peace, you find the strength to carry on. You awaken once again, the faint light of dawn seeping through the cracks in the wooden shutters. Your body protests, every muscle stiff from yesterday's labor. But you rise with the practiced ease of someone who has long learned to obey the rhythms of this life. Today, your task lies beyond the villa's walls. The market. The city is waking up as you step onto the uneven cobblestones, the early light turning stones into warm amber underfoot. The air is alive with sounds, the clatter of carts, the calls of merchants, the chatter of townsfolk trading stories and goods. You move among them like a shadow, unseen, unheard, yet indispensable. Your hands carry crates of olives, jars of honey, baskets of fruit. Each item is precious, for it sustains the household and the master's reputation. The marketplace is a world apart from the quiet fields and hushed corridors. Here, life bursts in vivid colors, bright cloths fluttering on stalls, the gleam of polished bronze vessels, the sharp scent of spices. Your senses absorb it all, yet you remain apart, an invisible current beneath the bustling flow. You barter with vendors under the overseer's watchful gaze, counting coins and weighing goods with steady hands. The market smells of fresh bread and roasting meats, mingled with less pleasant scents, the sweat of animals, the sharp tang of fish. A child darts between the legs of shoppers, laughing carefree. You watch briefly, a fleeting envy stirring quickly quelled. Your freedom is measured not in coins or goods, but in the invisible chains that bind your days. The sun climbs higher, and the air grows thick and hot. Your arms ache from lifting and carrying, your feet sore from long hours on hard stone. Yet the market waits for no one, and the master's orders must be fulfilled. At midday you find a brief moment to rest beneath the shade of an awning. The world hums around you, merchants shouting, customers haggling, animals braying. You pull a small piece of bread from your satchel, dry and crumbly, and chew slowly. Hunger gnaws, but does not dominate. This is the pace you have come to know. As you rise to continue, a vendor offers a wry smile and a nod, a rare acknowledgement from a free man to one who serves unseen. You return the gesture quietly, the smallest thread connecting to worlds. By afternoon's end, your load lightens. The master's provisions are gathered, counted, and ready to return. You navigate the winding streets back toward the villa, the shadows lengthening around you. Though invisible in the crowds, you carry with you the silent strength of endurance, the steady heartbeat of a day lived under the weight of chains, and still moving forward. The late afternoon light softens as you return to the villa, the familiar sights and sounds welcoming you back like an old, reluctant friend. Your body aches in familiar places, shoulders stiff, fingers raw, but your spirit holds steady. The courtyard is calm now, dust motes drifting lazily in the warm air, and the distant sound of water trickling from a fountain provides a gentle rhythm. Your next task awaits, preparing the master's private study. The room is lined with scrolls and tablets, a sanctuary of knowledge and power. His nod is almost imperceptible, but it carries weight. Approval that means the day's tasks inch closer to completion. The weight of the room's silence presses upon you, but you find solace in the order you bring to the space. You pause to watch a bird hop along the sill, pecking at crumbs. The villa's servants begin to settle into quieter rhythms. The laughter from the dining room fades, replaced by whispered conversations and footsteps echoing softly on stone. For a brief moment, its freedom seems a gentle rebuke to your captivity, yet its small presence brings a subtle comfort. Each day may weigh heavy, but within these small moments, a clean room, a well-laid table, a breath of freedom in a bird's flight, you find your strength. Here the master contemplates his plans, pens his letters, and wields his influence, and you, the unseen hand, prepare the stage. You carefully sweep the floor, mindful not to disturb the delicate arrangement of wax tablets or ink pots. The scent of old parchment and beeswax lingers here, a stark contrast to the earthy smells of the fields and kitchens. You arrange the cushions on the wooden benches, straightening the faded tapestry hanging on the far wall. The paper rustles softly beneath your fingers, and you imagine the stories they hold, of power, ambition, and a world you touch only through these fragments. But such thoughts are dangerous, and you tuck them away like a hidden treasure. A small window lets in a slant of golden light. The door creaks open, and the overseer steps inside, his sharp eyes taking in your work.
As the sun dips, casting long shadows, you gather the master's documents to return them to their cases.
Your hands tremble slightly, not from fatigue, but from the unspoken yearning to belong to this world of ink and ideas, not just labor and command. You step outside into the cooling air, feeling the first stirrings of evening breeze. In your heart, a quiet resolve takes root. Tomorrow, the day will begin anew, but for now, you carry this fragile piece with you, a shield against the endless demands. The evening deepens, and shadows stretch long across the villa's marble floors. You are called again, this time to the baths. You haul wood and feed the flames, sweat mingling with the mist as the heat wraps itself around your shoulders like a suffocating cloak. Beneath your bare feet, the stone floor is slick and warm, each step a careful dance between caution and haste. The master's family prepares for their nightly cleansing, and it is your hands that stoke the fires beneath the great clay furnaces. Your labor that warms the water they will bathe in. Your movements are quick, but measured. You have learned not to be clumsy, not to draw their irritation. Slip, a spill, and the consequences will find you faster than praise ever could. It is almost beautiful, this small steaming world, though not meant for you. You lower your gaze, hands folded, your presence shrinking to the edges of the room. You rise, your legs stiff but steady, and return to your duties. The courtyard is quiet now, lit by a thin silver moon. You're but a person who feels the heat of the fire, the chill of the wind, and the longing for something more. You stand there for a moment longer than you should, breathing in the cool air, watching the olive branches sway gently in the night breeze. The night deepens, and the stars wheel silently overhead, distant and uncaring. They recline on marble benches, laughing softly, their cares floating away on clouds of steam. Their voices rise and fall like waves in a distant sea. Politics, poetry, rumors of distant wars, far from your world of splinters and sweat. You will not soak in these waters, feel them ease your aching limbs. No, your place is here, in the heat and shadow, keeping the baths warm for others. The bathhouse is humid, echoing with dripping water, and the faint hum of steam escaping through narrow vents. You steal a moment to watch the water ripple in the great caldarium, glowing gold in the lamplight. The master enters with a quiet murmur of voices, accompanied by his guests. Occasionally they call for towels or scented oils, and you hurry to fetch them. And yet, even in this humbling work, there is a rhythm, almost a grace. You move through the steamy twilight like a shadow, unnoticed but essential. You sit for a moment on the warm stone ledge, letting your shoulders relax for the first time in hours. The heat from the stone seeps into your aching back, and for a fleeting moment it feels like kindness. You know the patterns of this household, the habits of its masters, as intimately as you know the cracks in the villa walls or the coolness of the night air against your skin. When the baths begin to empty and the guests retreat to the triclinium for wine and rest, you are left alone with the quiet hiss of cooling water, but only for a moment. There are lamps to extinguish, ashes to clear, towels to fold. You step outside at last, wiping your damp brow with the sleeve of your tunic. In that quiet, you remember who you are, not just a slave. Tomorrow will begin again, and so will your work. But tonight, you have this moment beneath the stars. The night presses on, deep and still, but your duties are not yet done. The villa sleeps lightly, like a beast always half awake, and you tread its corridors as quietly as you can. You lift their fragile bodies from stone shelves and window sills, carefully pouring what little olive oil remains. In a house where your life belongs to another, where your hours are spent in labor, not leisure, here you keep the darkness at bay. No one thanks you. No one sees you. But still you do it, because the lamps must be ready for the morning, and the morning always comes. You trim the wicks with fingers steady, despite the weariness tugging at your bones. You light the final lamp, and feel your body sag with exhaustion, your limbs as heavy as wet cloth. The tasks of the day have worn you thin, like a rope stretched over too many years. Still you are here, still moving, still yourself. You think of the fields beyond the villa, of the winding roads that lead to places you'll likely never see. You wonder what it would be like to walk them without a master-esque voice chasing you down, without the weight of duty tied to your ankles like shackles. You look down at your own calloused feet, crossing those same scenes, a quiet irony you've long since learned to live with. And with it, more work, more demands, more days like this one, stretched end to end like the links of a chain. No words, just the brief exchange of recognition between two souls, bound by the same threadbare life. You lie down at last, the thin blanket pulling over your worn body like a sigh. You stare up at the dark beams above you, counting the cracks in the wood until your eyes grow heavy. You rise once more and return inside, closing the courtyard door softly behind you. The moon hangs low and full, silvering the olive trees and tiled roofs. For a fleeting moment you feel almost free. You are no hero, no god, just the one who sweeps the dust from their immortal faces each dawn. Each lamp is a small universe of flame and shadow, casting shapes across the walls. Your shadow, long and thin, slipping between worlds. Your next task is the lamps. The small, flickering hearts of clay and oil that kept the household alive through the dark hours. One by one, you tend them. It is a humble thing, this tending of light, but in its own way, it feels almost sacred. Was it the master? A guest? A cat? Seconds stretch thin as thread. But no one calls your name. No punishment comes. Slowly you breathe again. Your footsteps echo faintly in the vast atrium, where the mosaic floors tell stories of gods and heroes. From the far side of the villa, a sudden noise, a broken cup, a startled voice, freeze, heart tightening, the quiet returns. You slip outside, just briefly into the cool night air. The courtyard feels endless beneath the stars. You sit on the worn stone steps and let your shoulders fall, letting the night hold you the way no one else does. But morning will come. It always does. A fellow slave passes quietly, giving you a tired nod. The last lamps flicker against the stone walls as you make your way back to your sleeping place. And there, in the quiet space between exhaustion and sleep, you remind yourself that you are still here. It's not free, but not broken. Not free, but still human. And tomorrow you will rise again. And so, as the night stretches thin and fragile across the city, sleep finally finds you, not deep, not restful, but enough to carry you to the next dawn. The cold stone beneath your blanket presses against your back, familiar and unyielding, just like the life you lead. Your dreams are shallow, filled with the shapes of your labors, the garden rose, the kitchen fires, the distant voices calling your name. But the morning does not wait for your dreams to finish. It comes soft at first, like the whisper of a memory, then steady and sharp as the voice of the overseer echoing through the servant quarters. Around you, the other slaves stir, each one carrying their own silent story, their own hidden thoughts, just like you. No one speaks much in the morning. What is there to say that the work does not already say for you? You open your eyes to another day, another same day. Each motion is a thread in the long tapestry of your days, stitched together by duty and necessity. The dust of the storeroom settles in your throat and clings to your skin. Who is this person? A servant? A tool? A man? A woman? A life caught between obedience and hope. You pass through the cool corridors, the sunlight streaming through high windows, illuminating mosaics of gods whose lives could not be further from your own. You cough quietly, mindful not to disturb the silence too much. You see their weaknesses, their habits, their tempers. You're invisible, yes, but in your invisibility, you are free to witness. The laughter of the free fills the air, and you stand at its edges unnoticed, holding the cup that makes their joy possible. Their words drift over your head like smoke. Politics, trade, philosophy, love, all of it far from your reach. You, however, rise only because you must. The blanket, thin and scratchy, welcomes you home. Your body is tired beyond words, but your spirit, somehow, still intact. You stretch your stiff arms, feeling the ache of yesterday, still clinging to your bones like a second skin. You sweep the floors once more, straighten the benches, and wipe away the crumbs of laughter and leisure. You move through your routine without thinking, washing your face in cold water, tying your worn sandals, pulling your rough tunic over your shoulders. You inventory the contents by the faint light of a flickering lamp, your fingers tracing the marks carved into clay and wood. Tomorrow will be the same, and the next day, and the next. Each sack of lentils, each jar of wine, has more importance than you do. These are the treasures of the household, guarded by your vigilance. The villa stirs to life once more. Somewhere beyond the walls, the roosters cry, the city wakes, and free men rise to their own concerns. Today, your task takes you to the storerooms. Dark, cool spaces where grain is measured and amphorae of oil are stacked in rows. You work in silence, counting and sorting, lifting and stacking. Occasionally you catch a reflection in the polished bronze lid of a storage chest, a fleeting glimpse of your tired face. As midday approaches, the storeroom tasks end, and you are sent to assist in the atrium where the master's guests have gathered. You pour wine into fine cups, your movement steady, your face blank, but within yourself a quiet defiance remains. You know their lives. As the sun dips lower, the guests leave, and your day winds slowly to its familiar close. Finally, at the edge of night, you return to your small corner beneath the servant quarters beams. You lie there in the dark, listening to the city settle and the night birds call. But for now, you rest, day. And perhaps, somewhere deep inside, a hope stirs. Fragile, faint, but alive. Because though your body belongs to another, your thoughts, your quiet resistance, your whispered dreams, those are still yours. And in that quiet space, where no overseer's voice can reach, where no chain can follow, you are free.